Hello, I'm JC, and on this video I want to show you how you can get information from Linear about your issue on Linear, so you can integrate that into Voiceflow. How you can do that? What I have done is to create like a new function, like this Linear find issue function that you can import on your Voiceflow project, and then you can use it to get information from your Linear issue. So let's first take a look here. Let's take a look at the Linear dashboard. So here I have already some tickets, and let's see how we can information from here. Some tickets are on the to-do lane, and some others are on the backlog lane. So if we, for example, try to get information for the 25, it should say that it is on the backlog. So let's test this. We get into the test. The only thing that I'm requesting for this example is the identifier. So the identifier is your issue ID. So what is the identifier? So it is 25, and this will go and get that information from Linear. So it says the issue is in the backlog lane. Let's test, for example, that we can change here, and I think I remember when I use it, that we can put it on to do, or let's say we are working on this, we put it into progress. If we do this again, and then it should say, it's in progress. So again, get issue status. You can customize and update this flow. I mean, it will be depending on what you have on your canvas. But for the example, we get this button, and then we ask about it, and then we get the information. So the issue is in the in progress lane now. So this is how it works. Let's now take a closer look at the function itself and how it can be used if you want to get other type of data, or like how you can customize it. So the first thing you would take a look here, or you would need to do, is to do the mapping. So input variable, at the moment I have some variables on Voiceflow, so Voiceflow variables that you can define here on your canvas, and then you need to map that into variables defined, the ones that I define on the function itself. So we have like issue identifier. So on the right side are the ones from the function, and on the left are things that you need to pass. And for the output is the other way. This issue status is the output that I define on the function, and this on the right is information that now you can use as variables on your canvas. So I have defined 2 inputs and 1 output. And the API key, we can take a look real quick. Here you go to your dashboard preferences, and you scroll down a little bit here on the left, and then you see like API under my account. And first you see some documentation, and then you see like the personal API keys. You put some label, and then you can create a new key, and then you can copy, and then you can update it here with the actual value. So that is for the input and output. So let's take a look. Inside the function, here's where you define. So as I said, to define inputs variables, issue identifier and linear API key, and 1 output issue status. The other thing you define is the success and error. As you saw, if there is success, you get one message. If it is an error, you get another message. And here's where you define you can have more if you want. For the function itself, first thing is like the validate inputs. I put this function inside this global function to validate what I have as an input, just to make sure that the data that I need for the function to work is there. So it's one if statement for each of the input variables. And after that, if you want to update, yeah, you can update this and these three parts to match all of them. And what I'm doing as a result is that the return is like a trace of like an error, first like the next key for the error, like the path of error, and the trace for the just the debug message for yeah, for you to take a look what might happen or what is happening, which is like you're not passing this, and same as the linear key. And if everything is okay, like if we have all the information, we return null, which means the data is validated, at least that there is some value to it. And we go back to the top of the function. If invalid field trace is there, we return it. It means something is wrong. If not, after this point, we know that we have the information that we need, and we again destructure it. Then we come to the most interesting and fun part, which is GraphQL. GraphQL is a little bit different from REST, and it's a different way of hitting the endpoint. But yeah, this is what Linear has available for us to work with their system, with their API, is a GraphQL endpoint or GraphQL API. You have some information. I put some documents link to have more information about this. But in essence, you can build your requests with two keys, query and variables. The query is like the query that you're issuing to the endpoint, and the variables are the data that you are passing. So normally in REST, you talk about operations like delete or remove data, and you use the HTTP methods to reference that. So post, put, get, and delete or patch. But on GraphQL jargon is like queries or mutations. So queries to fetch data, and mutation to change data. So mutate the data. So in this case is query. We are going to use the issue query. And for that, we need to pass the identifier. And for the response, you define here like the state and then the name. And we are going to take a look how it looks. Sorry, different, but yeah, that's how it works. And for the variables, you need to pass the information using the variables feature from GraphQL. So it means I can change, for example, this. I don't know, like let's say my identifier. So this is a variable name that you can change. The ones that have the dollar is the things that you can change, keeping the dollar. The other things you need to use them as they are right now. So well, even this you can change because this is the name of the operation, not the name of the query. But the other things, it has to be query. Here it has to be issue, it has to be ID, and it has to be these fields because these are the fields. And the other cool feature about GraphQL is like here you define what you want to get from the response. You don't get more or less than what you put here, and that saves some bytes of data, which is better performance for the user overall. And another characteristic of GraphQL is that you only have one endpoint, so you define, you get the GraphQL endpoint, and you use it for query mutations, everything. You only change the actual operation using a query or mutation, but this is the same endpoint, and normally everything goes to post. That's how it works normally. And you stringify the body, and for the headers you need to put the linear API key, and that's we saw it as before. And then you get into the API call itself, which you can use normally as an HTTP. We get into validation of the response. It should be okay. It should be a JSON. In GraphQL, you get these key errors. If if you get this key, it means something went wrong, and if not, you can to the part that you are sure everything it works good. So for the response body, this data.issue.state.name is the structure of the query that you are put. So it's issue, state name, and everything is under the scope of data. So that's why it's data.issue.state.name, and you get the issue status in this case, and then I have that on the output variables here, and then which actually this could also be this, but yeah, for verbosity I put it as it was. But you get also like the return success and then the trace of debug messages, just to have more context on the call and on the like on the chat and on the transcripts. That's all. And if there is any error about the request, you get into the error path and you get some message there. And then you get to the validate inputs, which that's what we saw before, and that's all about it here. I want to show you real quick then on the API like endpoint GraphQL. And it's also nice that you get this studio from Apollo, which most likely is what Linear is using to build their GraphQL endpoints. Apollo is a GraphQL framework. So here, if we click on the links on the document of the function, you land into this URL, which is like the issue query definition. So here you see that one specific issue, you need to pass the ID, and that's why you need to define as it is. ID is a string, and it can be used like the ID or the identifier, and we use the identifier. And you get into what is possible to fetch from the issue, and here you can use whatever you need, comments like creator, cycle description, anything. For example, you can, if you want to have other type of information, like more information about this issue, let's say we want to return the URL as well. So you can go back to your function, and then what you would need to do is to change first. Here, this would be outside, like not on the state, but outside. So it's like at the same level, state and URL. And then once you have that requested on your query, you can go here, and then you, for example, you can say issue a URL. And then based on that, you can change this to data.issue.url, and then you will get the issue URL here. You can put it on the status, like on the output variables, or like even on the debug messages if you want. And that's how you can customize the query. And the other cool feature about GraphQL, especially with Apollo endpoints, is that you get this studio as well. Like first we were taking a look at the schema, where you see everything what is available, like in terms of query mutations, responses, inputs. But you also get to play around with the endpoint before developing anything and before going into your coding environment. So in the Explorer, you get to like these definitions as well. So query, we can get into our query here, the one that we're taking a look. So you click here, and then it will be added to here. Then you can click here, and then you say, okay, I want the state, and it is a workflow state type, and then you click the name, for example. But also, as we saw, for example, we have the URL here as well. So if you click in here, it will be added to the step here, like to the body. And then on below, you get the variables, and you need to pass the variables. So as you saw before, I had identifier, but you can use the name of the variable as you wish. And for this to work, you need to put the authorization and the API key as well here. But Once you have that, you can click around here, issue, and then you can experiment here on the Explorer, and you will see that the information that you need follows the structure that we saw before: data issue state name, data issue URL. And that's how you can customize your queries, and then you can play around before going into developing mode. So I think that's all what I wanted to show you. There is one last thing I think it's also interesting to take a look, is that if you click on the curve here on this menu, you can go back to your function or to your coding environment, and you paste it, and then you can extract the query string that you need for the operation on this query key. So open quote here, query, then you go to the close query, extract that, and it will match what you have, the same thing here as we had before. So query issue ID, we name it identifier, issue is the same here as well, and the state is also the same, state name, URL. I removed this and the other spaces just to keep it more clean. But yeah, this is another thing that you can do to save some time of checking and then making sure that the thing is correct. But yeah, that's another thing to take a look. I think that's all what I wanted to show you here on this video about this linear find issue function. You can get it yeah, on the template here or below in the description. And yeah, as you saw, you can customize it however you want. I hope it was helpful, and I hope that it's useful to you and your project, and that you learn something about it or GraphQL. And that's all for this one. So see you on the next one, and that's all. Bye bye.